Hello everyone, my name is Hannah Poppy and I'm going to be giving a presentation on the biofuels, and the biofuel that I chose was sustainable aviation fuels. So for the background of this, sustainable aviation fuel, also known as renewable jet fuel, it's a type of biofuel that is used to power aircrafts while leaving a smaller carbon footprint behind. Instead of it being a regular aviation fuel, it is made from non-petroleum feedstocks, which help reduce CO2 emissions and help reduce your carbon footprint, which is ultimately better for the environment than traditional air fuels that we use. So how is this fuel grown and produced? So SAF is grown from renewable feedstocks such as waste, biomass, oils, fats, ethanol, e-fuels, and algae through technologies that use both chemical and physical reactions. So for instance, photosynthesis can help produce standard aviation fuels by allowing plants to absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere during growth, which is used as a feedstock to produce this biofuel. Also, fermentation helps produce SAF as it converts biomass into ethanol or other types of alcohol that are chemically treated to produce this type of aviation fuel. So the status is sustainable aviation fuel has recently been just deployed. This type of fuel is not readily widely available yet, as it is only used on some commercial flights. This is due to its production capacity. It has a very limited availability and its high cost. Although it's not used everywhere yet, it is still continued research and development of this aviation fuel, and it's still being researched to improve efficiency and reduce costs, ultimately resulting in a better, more sustainable environment. So the impacts of this sustainable aviation fuel is it has a great impact on carbon footprint, as SAF has the ability to lower greenhouse gas emissions and both carbon dioxide emissions by up to 80% compared to traditional jet fuel. This can positively impact the environment by reducing the carbon footprint of large aviation industries such as Delta, American, or United. And it also has a great impact on the economy of the United States and both economies all over the globe, as SAF has the ability to produce jobs for almost 200,000 people in the United States, as it's a developing industry, and it as well will lead to an increase of pay and money for people who live in rural areas or who are farmers, as they'll be growing more crops, which is used as types of fuel and sources for this fuel, which can ultimately better the economy. So, for efforts to communicate uses of standard aviation fuel to the public, I would say that we could collaborate between airlines, government agencies, and industry groups. I feel like we should do this because these groups have a strong impact on the public's perception of view of certain aspects, and they can highlight the political environment impacts of this fuel and the urge for public to have a better awareness of how harmful traditional jet fuel can be and how SAF is beneficial to our environment. And honestly, I feel like these government agencies, airlines, and industry groups will do a very good job at getting this across, as they will highlight how detrimental regular airline fuels that we use almost every day are to both the economy and the environment. And I feel like this could definitely sway people into thinking how using standard aviation fuels can greatly better our lives. So my analysis of this and my plan of action is, according to my research over sustainable aviation fuels, I believe they have a potential to greatly better our environment and economy and reduce a large chunk of the airline industry's carbon footprint, as I know now that the carbon footprint of airline industries and just everyone's jets and everything is very greatly impacting our environment in a negative way. And I feel like if we develop more standard aviation fuels, it will totally bring down the carbon emissions by a big amount, by almost 80%, like I mentioned earlier. So I would recommend for the next steps for the development of SAF is I would say for major airline companies to start using it or like such as like Delta, United, American, as I said earlier, and start implementing those and making it clear to the public that they are using it, so we know that these companies are choosing a more sustainable route for their fuel and using biofuel instead of the traditional fuels. Um, Also, I believe that these will better the environment, and it will bring the public's attention to how it is bettering the environment and economy. So for me, I would say if funding wasn't an obstacle, I would suggest that companies should produce as much standard aviation fuel as they possibly can with the money and with the amount of resources we have, and start making the major airlines start implementing it into their fuel instead of the traditional, as I mentioned earlier, because I feel like this would not only help better the environment, but it would also lead to many job opportunities for people, which would also better the economy, like I as well did say earlier. So I feel like if we just put the sustainable aviation fuel into as many like planes, major airlines as possible, it would greatly help the economy. All right, and these are my sources that I use to gather my information for, and that's it.